Economic freedom fighters and national chairperson advocate Dali Mpofu has left the Red Berets for the Umkhonto Sizwe party. Mpofu made the announcement last night in an exclusive interview with the national broadcaster. He now joins a list of high-ranking officials that have deserted the EFF in recent weeks following the departure of then Deputy President Floyd Shivambu, and others that have now crossed over to the less-than-a-year-old MKP include former Public Protector Advocate Busisiwe Mkhwebane and Mzwanele Mani. In a social media post this morning, EFF leader Julius Malema hinted at the imminent departure of two more members of his party. But let's find out from Advocate Mpofu his reasons for going. Of course, we got a hint of it last night. Good morning, by the way, and welcome to the program. We got a hint of it after your interview with the public broadcaster. But how do you feel, Advocate Mpofu?
Good morning, Iman. No, I feel great, and it's something that, as I said in that interview, it's not something that just happened overnight. It's something I've been mulling over for quite some time now. But I think the time had come for to make this move. It's not a project for some time, even before it was announced. And at that time, really, it was never my intention necessarily to leave the EFF, because I don't believe that it would have been necessary to do so, because our project is the same, whether you're in MK, whether you're in EFF. But after some of the more recent developments and also the electoral results, it became clear that MK is the primary place where we can drive this project for Black and progressive unity.
I assume then that these are some of the things that went into your soul searching. Are there other issues, other reasons, Advocate Mpofu, that that kind of catalyzed your decision?
Yes, as I say, there were not so much many push factors. So it's not like, when I left the ANC, that was certainly because I thought that organization was definitely going to the dogs, and I was quite correct here. But no, this time it's really, as I say, it's a matter of where do I think I can make the best contribution, and which of the progressive organizations do I think has got the biggest potential to unite all of us. I'm not, one of these people about what color of T-shirt you are wearing. I'm more about the cause itself, the broader movement, and I have a very big interest in that, because I do feel that for centuries the reasons that we have been defeated by our enemy is because we have been fighting in silos, if you like. And they've never really had to face us as a formidable united force. And I think MK carries that promise much better than any other existing alternative.
And by contrast, then, what you are saying is that you don't believe the EFF is that vehicle anymore. Effectively, you're saying they're ineffective in their mission to do what is a very similar agenda or very similar priorities that the MKP has.
No, that's not necessarily what I'm saying. I'm just saying that, look, let's look at it objectively and look at where the greatest potential is. I think anybody who runs any project, whether it's in business or in any sphere, you want to achieve your project in the shortest possible time. And therefore, there might be various alternatives or routes to reach your destination. And any wise person will take the shortest possible route. And I believe that as a people, we, of the existing alternative, particularly its emphasis on this issue of unity, of bringing in even traditional leaders, traditional communities, religious communities, and so on. It might well be that the EFF also has those aspirations, but the question is which of the two has the greatest potential to achieve it with the least amount of effort, as it were. Yeah.
So you also shared that you had been having this conversation, Advocate Mpofu, with former President Jacob Zuma. You say there was a time when only you and the former president knew about this project around the formation of the MKP, and this was 2 years ago in 2022. So would you say that you were part of that brains trust, part of the shaping of the identity of what would become MKP?
Yes, no, most certainly. And as I say, I'm going to be releasing a document that gives all those details later today. And as I say in that document, I was quite honored that he was able to trust me with this Mammoth project. I'm sure, as I say, he might have been discussing it with other people, but I know specifically that we had our own one-on-ones for a number of months, and we thought of various options of how to deal with the situation. And some of them were discarded along the way until it took shape in what became MK. And even once that happened, it's public knowledge that the MK party was registered around June or so last year. And then the next 6 months was a different phase where we were now engaging with leaders of various political parties. At one stage, we had about maybe 8 to 10 of those political parties talking about what must happen post the elections, because some of us were able to predict what was likely to happen in the elections. And eventually, the agreement was that, look, there's not enough time between those discussions and the elections. And let us go and contest as separate organizations, and then we will reconverge after the elections and pursue the unity movement, so to speak. Yeah.
Advocate Mpofu, just on the face of it, if I was Julius Malema, I would see this as an act of deep infidelity to consort, quote unquote, or in inverted commas, with an enemy of my own party, notwithstanding the fact that there might be goodwill, amongst the personalities involved, but to be, the brains behind the formation of a competitor, a potential rival party to me, even before the elections get underway, to help in its formation and identity, which you've just confirmed now. And I think that there had been talk inside the EFF, which included yourself, around the possibility of joining the MKP, and it didn't, and this potentially formed part of the reasons for why you left. Why do you think Julius Malema should not feel like a betrayed person right now?
Yes, no, that's a good question. No, he would, as you say, if he didn't know. But everything I'm telling you now, he knew about, and at least the top leadership of the EFF. As I've just explained to you, I chaired meetings of leaders that included the leadership of the EFF in those meetings when we were still at the covert or underground stage. So, if he was finding it out today like you, then he might feel that way. But no, at all given times, I kept the leadership of the EFF abreast, and as I say, invited them to all those meetings.
So 2 questions remain. Why did you wait?
No, it was not a matter of waiting. As I say, it was the intention initially was that each one of us must build each of the organizations. So ideally, you would have had a growing MK, a growing EFF, a growing ATM, and then with the view that eventually will defeat the forces on the right wing, which are now represented in the so-called GNU. So it was not a matter of waiting. If anything, it's happening too early for various reasons, which I don't get into for now, because it's something that may not even ever have been necessary if all of us had stayed true to the course of what we had agreed before the elections.
You're being a little bit cryptic there. I want to come to my second question, but you're being cryptic there, Advocate Mpofu. Are you trying to suggest, or at least my understanding of what you potentially are suggesting is that there would have been, maybe talks to amalgamate and perhaps some undertakings made about how that could be, and that didn't quite pan out, and therefore this decision was necessitated?
Yeah, those were some of the options that we're looking at. Should we, for example, some of the leaders in the EFF, rightly so, before the launch of MK were saying, well, why, if we're going to do this unity thing of yours, why don't we do it under the umbrella of the EFF? And they were justified in asking that question because the EFF then was the largest organization which was already represented in Parliament. And but what we're dealing with now is something completely different, where the people of South Africa have decided who should be, the bigger party, for example, between the MK and the EFF. And therefore, that would have necessitated a tactical adjustment of those plans. Whether they would amount or will, in any event, amount to an amalgamation, one organization, 2, 3, or 4, it doesn't really matter. I'm not interested in that. I'm interested in places or in separate houses that are clearly aligned to liberate our people, because our people don't present themselves in political parties. They are oppressed as a people, as Black people, or as women, or or as working people, and so on. And I've said this, that for the past 400 years, we've never been able to confront our enemies as a united force. And I feel very passionate about the issue of unity. So for me, I will always choose a place where I think it has the greatest potential to achieve that unity. And from President Zuma's vision, which I've interrogated and been part of for a long time, resonates with me. Might not resonate with other people. It's a free country. If it doesn't resonate with you, you stay where you are. But for me, I want to be involved directly in building this party and achieving that vision as soon as possible.
One of the things you also said, Advocate Mpofu, was that there was no bad blood. I'll extend the courtesy of informing Malema after the announcement. That interview then, more than 12 hours ago now. Have you had that conversation directly with Julius Malema? Are you planning to imminently if you have not?
No, there's no rush. I can have it, later today, later this month, later this year. I don't owe anybody any explanation about my political convictions. I've been in the struggle for liberation for almost 50 years now, 50. And I've never asked for any permission from anyone, not even my parents. Sometimes, actually, they didn't even know what I was up to. So, but as I said, as a matter of courtesy and also because of the broader vision, it's our duty to make sure that there's no unnecessary bad blood. But but anyone who thinks that I have to seek the permission, like I don't know what, so some kind of permission seeker, well, that's not going to happen. But it's important to keep those cordial relations at a political level, not necessarily at a personal level.
Advocate Mpofu, it's so curious to hear you sort of say this, because as outsiders, right, we look at the party, when everyone's in a party, they put on this united front and everybody looks like brothers and sisters, and, there's so much camaraderie that we see on the outside. And yet, at a moment like this, as you say, it can happen later, it can happen next month, it can happen, whenever. You don't need permission. And so it belies the nature of that closeness that we see. It sounds like you have quite a removed or a nonchalant attitude about it. I mean, in Common Cause, when somebody's working in an organization, we would tell our employer, I know that that's not the paradigm there, but we tell our employer or the comrades or the colleagues we're working with, hey, I'm leaving, and to expect this. He's finding out like everyone else. It certainly gives a different impression of the relationship you all share.
No, well, I'm sorry if it's giving that impression. Believe me, I mean, if I had any problem with anyone, you would be the first to know. There's no reason why I would hide that. I have no problem with any leader of any political party. And this is a decision. What I'm trying to convey to you is that I've taken very difficult decisions in my political journey, including being involved with the other Umkhonto weSizwe, by the way, and putting myself in situations where I could have lost my life in the cause of liberation. But I've never had to go and seek the permission of anyone, because you have to. Those are decisions you must take yourself, so that if you die in the process, you can say, well, so and so gave me permission or didn't give me permission. Yeah. So that's my attitude. That's really all I'm saying. I'm not saying that the relationships. You're quite right. The camaraderie that is there is actually true. There's nothing, but it's a political relationship. That's the issue. Even with my family members, I didn't ask them for permission, but I told them, I informed them, or those that have not informed, I'll inform in due course. That's how it works.
You've reflected on the expectations that you now have in the MK party, and how you see it as a more accelerated vehicle for all of the principles that you stand on. How then, if this was your exit interview, would you reflect on your time in the EFF and what they were able to achieve over the last 14 years?
It was a great time. I think that the 11 years that I've spent in the EFF for me is something that was very fulfilling. I've said this even to the comrades in MK. Sometimes jokingly, I say to them, you might think you are the ones who fell the ANC, but you found a wounded buffalo, because we in the EFF had really worked on this project for more than 10 years. And, that is true. So you can't take away the magnificent role that has been played by the EFF in bringing us where we are. And it has created the opportunity that has arisen. But now we're in a different reality. There is a new reality in South Africa, if people have not noticed. The ANC has fallen below 50%. The ANC has sold us out to the DA, and we have to respond to that decisively. And so that reality brings about political realignment, which must happen. It's not about individuals. If individuals stand in the way of that, well, they'll just be bulldozed by the train. And remember, the reality, the political reality that we are facing now, which we must confront, was not caused by any single political party, was not caused by any single leader. It was caused by the people of South Africa. They are the ones who removed the ANC from power, and they expect of us to do something about it, and listen carefully to what message are they giving us when they were removing the ANC. Were they saying the ANC must sell out? I don't think so. Were they saying the ANC should realign the forces of liberation? I think so. And my reading of the situation is that they were saying that the forces of liberation must reunite and take their plight forward. Somebody else's reading is that they must go and unite with racists. Well, that's their choice. Time will tell.
Advocate Mpofu, I wanted to ask you a final thing. The signal's letting us down quite dramatically, so I'm hoping that you will be able to respond to the final question. And thanks again for your frankness. There's an adage that says the only constant is change, and you hinted at it a little bit earlier on about the future of the dimension of politics in South Africa. Do you see the EFF ultimately assimilating with the MKP? And it doesn't seem unexpected that there would be more defections to the MK party.
Yeah, well, that might happen. If it happens, well and good. If it doesn't, we must still push into the same direction as the broader progressive forces. Whether you find yourself in the ANC of that organization, or you are in MK, or you are in the EFF, or AZAPO, the ATM, and all sorts of other progressive organizations and unions, and religious organizations and so on, we should pull together as a people. I make this analogy, man, of religion. So whether you are in the Anglican Church or the Methodist Church or whatever, those people are all Christians. And some of them might be obsessed with their Anglicanism or whatever it is. But the true Christians will be those that are more obsessed about that message, the broader movement of Christianity. And so that's my worldview in politics. Always has been my worldview. You know, some of my family members are in the ANC, others are my daughters in the EFF. That's fine. And I have no issues with that. Because I see all of us, I might start to frown if one of them ever joined the Freedom Front or the DA. But if it's a progressive organization, what's the fuss?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's interesting, and I think this tweet is from today from Julius Malema. Only 2 more of your favorites remain. The list will be finalized. You might have seen this particular tweet, but the end of it says, to prevent any political hurt, it's crucial to heed the guidance of the leadership. We remain standing, and we are not going anywhere under a criminal syndicate. How do you understand that?
No, I mean, the last thing I would ever do is to respond to the president of the EFF on the national media. I'm sure if he wants to have a conversation with me, he knows where to find me. And I also know where to find him. It would be utterly disrespectful for me to do that. And I don't intend to do that. You know, I read tweets and sometimes just to have a laugh.
Well, we know where to find you, Advocate Mpofu. We'll be watching your political progress over the weeks, the months, and let's see the years ahead as well. Advocate Dali Mpofu, so sorry there for that bad signal. It does coincide, though, with the end of the program. Thank you very much for being with us today. We hope that we have served you well, and we will keep you close to other big news stories that are developing today, including the fluid situation in Mozambique.